Hey YouTube, Unkert here. In this video, I want to talk about docstrings in Python. So let's get started. Let's first create a new Python file, and I'm going to create a main.py file. So I'm going to say main, and my IDE is going to add the .py. Okay, let's close out this. Well, let's not close out the sidebar first. Let's also create a Python package. Okay, so I'm going to create a new Python package. Now I'm just going to call this my_package. Okay, and you'll notice that my IDE is adding the init.py, just a blank init.py within my package. If you're doing this on a text editor, you'll want to create this dunder init.py file, and you can leave it blank, but you do want to do that. And I've shown that in a previous video on this series. Okay. And then within my package, let's create a file. Let's call it my functions. So let's create a new file. Let's call it my_functions.py. Okay. And now let's create some functions. And I'm going to show you that we can create docstrings with them. So I'm going to create a function. I'm going to call it square. It's going to take in a number, and it's going to return a number times a number. So it's squaring the number. Now we might want to indicate this within a docstring. So what we can do is I can do 3 double quotes here, and I can type in something like this function takes in a number, multiplies it by itself, and returns that value, something like that. Okay, so that's how we would create a single line docstring. Okay, so now this is the cool thing with an IDE. If I import my package dot my functions, and then I go to print and I say my package dot my functions dot square, and I pass in 9, right? That should return 81, right? So if I hover over this, you'll see it fetches the documentation. It says this function takes in a number and multiplies it by itself and returns that value. Okay. The other cool thing I can do here is I can do another print statement here, and I can say my package dot my functions dot square. And I can take away the parentheses because I don't want to invoke the function. But what I want to do is dunder, and you see the IDE is giving me a suggestion, dunder doc. Okay? And what that's going to do, now let's run the program. So I should get 81, and I get 81, and then I get the documentation from the docstring. So this function takes in a number, multiplies it by itself, and returns that value. So that's pretty cool. So if you have a big program, you're going to want to have docstrings, right? So let's go to this file and let's create a few more functions, okay? So let's create a cube function, okay? And I'm going to create a docstring for that, and I'm going to say this function returns the cube of the number entered as an argument, okay? All right, and then I'll do a return num times num times num, okay? All right, we'll go down here. We'll do another one. We'll do cube root. And we'll pass in a number, and we'll do another docstring, single line docstring, and I'm going to show you something a little different. I say this function returns the cube root of a number entered as an argument, okay? And we go with some periods here for punctuation. And let's just return the num raised to the 1/3 power, which is the cube root. Okay? And then let's do a little bit different docstring down here. Let's create my frac to percent, and I think I did this in a previous video, so frac to percent. And I'm going to take in a numerator and a denominator. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is do the 3 quotes again, but then I'm going to hit down, and then you notice my IDE fills this in for me. So this colon param is a number, colon param is a denominator, and I can say something like, this is the numerator. That must be entered. This is the denominator. That must be entered. And we can have something like, this will return actually, let's say round, and then numerator divided by denominator times 100, and we'll round it to 1 decimal place. So it shows you exactly what it returns. This function converts a fraction to a percent and returns the percent, okay? And we can put like a general. That's what it does, okay? And then let's actually write the return statement. So I'm going to just write return and do num divided by, actually we want to do round, sorry. We want to do round and then numerator divided by denominator times 100, round it to the first decimal place, okay? And now if I go back to my main.py here, and let's just do print, we'll do my package dot my functions dot frac to percent, and then we'll put in, say, 3/4. If I hover over this, you'll see that we have the parameters, the numerator and denominator, the returns, and also a little bit about the function. Okay, and of course, we can also do, we can print this out. So even if you're not using an IDE with this capability, you can also just not invoke the function here and do the dot dunder doc. Okay, and then if I run this, we get all the stuff here. We get this function multiplies itself, returns a value. That's for the first one. And then we get the result, and then we get this stuff here about the second function. And if I want this all the way not tabbed in, what I can also do is I can go down here and I can just basically highlight all this stuff and unindent it like so. And now if I rerun this again, I just get it all up against the side here. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to show you that small thing. Okay, so that's a functions file that we can bring in. We could also bring in a class. So let's create a class here within my package. So I'm going to do new Python file. I'm going to call it my class. Okay, and then let's create my class. So I'm going to say class, and I'm going to name it in all uppercases, which is the convention. And then I'm going to create my dunder init. Okay, and we'll take in self, and let's say a name and an age, and we'll say self.name equals name, self.age equals age, and then we'll go down here. Let's create a greeting function, and the greeting function, we can do a docstring here. So we could say this function returns the name of the object instantiated. I might be able to describe that a little bit better, but you get the point. I could even write what it's going to return. So I could say hi, f string. We do self.name. Okay, close out the f string. So that's what it's going to return, and let's return that. Return an f string. We do hi, and we do self.name. Okay. So that's what that returns. And then we'll have another one based off the age. We'll say def get in bar, and we'll pass in the self here. And what we'll do is do a docstring, okay? And we'll say this method determines whether access to the bar is granted based, and I can do multiple lines here, on the age of the object instantiated. And then the return is going to be either you get in the bar or not, depending on self.age, okay? And so we'll go down and make this function here. We'll say if self.age is greater than or equal to 21. Well, what we'll do is we'll return you get in the bar, okay? Otherwise, we'll just return hit the road, bub, go get a moxie, something like that. Hit the road, bub. All right, and if we want to, what we can do is we can, whoops, I didn't want to do that. No. Let me take this away. I don't know why I did that. Let me try that again. Okay, we can unindent it like so. So, it depends on what you want, but this isn't a necessary thing. It's just moving it over just when we call it from the main.py. So what we could do now is we can go into our main.py, and what we could do is I could do another import statement. I could say import my package dot my class, and let's do it as my package my class. So mpmc, make it short, okay? All right, and let's get rid of this stuff. And what we'll do is we'll do print, and we'll do mpmc dot, and then we can do my class, and yeah, we can take a look at that. And it just gives the type of class, right? We could also, create some classes. So let's do that. So let's go down here. Actually, let's get rid of this line. I want to delete the line. Let's get rid of that line, and let's create two bubs. So we'll say bub1 equals mpmc dot my class, and we'll give it the name Tim. It's 46, and then we'll do bub2 equals mpmc dot my class, and we'll give it Joe, and he'll be 11. All right. So now what we can do is we can print some of the functions. So like bub1 dot get in the bar, and print bub2 dot get in the bar, and we can just run those. Let's just make sure those work. So first one, you get in the bar. Second one, hit the road, bub, go get a moxie. Okay. But now what we can do is we can also do like one of these, and we can do the documentation. So we can print bub1 dot get in the bar, but not invoke the function, and then do dunder doc. Okay. And oh, I spelled print wrong. That's why it's having some issues here. So do print. I can do it. I can spell it. There we go. Print. Okay, get in the bar. All right. So we run this and we get the data. This method determines whether access to the bar is granted based on the age of the object instantiated. It returns whether you get in the bar or not, depending on self.age. Okay, one final thing I want to show you is that you can also print documentation on built-in functions. So I can do something like print, and then the length function dot dunder doc, okay? And if I run that, it says returns number of items in a container, okay? So it tells you what the length function does. I could also do even the print function. So I could do print dunder doc, okay? And it returns a bunch of stuff about the print function. So print gives you all this stuff, prints the values to stream or to sys.std out by default. For those who are familiar with C, you may recognize the std out. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. It's getting a little bit long, and I have a meeting this morning that I have to get to. So I am going to stop the video at this point. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.